Happy Friday, socialites. Welcome to the best damn social club in the universe. I am your host, Jedi ASU, and thank you so much for spending a part of your Friday night with me and my guest. I'm extremely excited to not only talk to this gentleman, but also be back chatting with you after sort of a winter break there from, mid-January to now. As you can see, it's the 26th of February, 2021, and I hope your week was outstanding. I hope your feet hurt because you kicked so much ass this week. As always, get yourself ready. Make sure you pour yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get social. Today we have the pit master of Lot 59, barbecue master himself. We're going to have Adam Blomker on with us. And so let me go ahead and get this set up, change all my overlays, and get back, bring him on the stream. And there you are, Adam. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. How are you tonight?
Happy Friday, man. I was just happy to pregame with you because I know we had some good conversations, but I'm just happy to see you, man. How's everything with you? How is Phoenix today? How is weather? How is everything with you?
Phoenix is gorgeous, shockingly. It is 70, I don't know, 73 degrees or something like that here today. I have the doors and windows open right now. It's a beautiful day. Welcome to Phoenix in the winter.
That's right. Eat your heart out, everyone else. That's why everyone should be That's why you got to be recruiting right now. And shout out to PJ. He is out in the chat, and everyone else that has joined us. You should have a chat option on the right-hand side. Feel free to go ahead and post your questions and comments. And if I like them, I'll just go ahead and bring them up, and we can see those questions not only from the chat, but here in the show itself. So I know we were talking about a few things. I wanted to hear about your golf game. Let everyone else know. I think you've been doing quite a bit. So how is your golf game going right now?
Yeah, it's gotten better. To go for this point last year, it was funny because I wasn't playing really at all before COVID whole thing happened. And once we got kind of everything started to shut down, it just so happened I had some friends that they were playing a regular game, and I jumped in with them, and all of a sudden I was playing every week. And it was because of what you could do. It was outdoors. It's, you got to force them. You're socially distanced. It was that you had your own cart and stuff at that time and stuff. It was just great. So, you were able to go do that. So that just became a thing. So the last year, that's all I've been playing every week. And so thankfully my golf game has improved quite a bit over that period. Because if it was still in that same place, I'd be crying.
Yeah, I can only imagine, especially once. Now, how long is around? Are you doing 9 or 18 holes?
18 holes, yeah.
Okay.
So,
but how long is that taking you? Is it 4.5? Okay. And is it a beer? Is it are you doing it with beer? Or are you kind of like more focused, or how does that work for you?
So there's a couple strategies to this,
right.
And it really depends on your how you want to approach your golf game. I don't tend to drink right from the get-go. I usually wait until I see the beer cart the first time. If she comes right away, I'll pass that time and I'll wait till the next time.
Oh, interesting.
So I like to wait till at least a couple holes in to get a beer, and then I grab a couple, and we'll start going there. Now my friend that I play with every week, Brett Bernheisel, he has to get 2 beers before we tee off because he needs to get those to settle his nerves. Otherwise, he's a little out of whack on the first tee. So every time when we're ready to go up to the first tee, we have to wait for him normally to come out of the bar and grab and have his Coors Lights to head to the first tee to get rolling.
That's something because I'm completely ignorant that way. So it's definitely like a light or a lager, right? You're not doing like, a double IPA or a stout out there.
Yeah, not normally. Normally I'm drinking some Miller Lights, as PJ just posted in the comments there. I'm drinking a nice easy Miller Lite. I can drink about 1,000 of those and not really have too much effect. So it's fine. Yeah, it's like it's just more something to keep you going and to just keep rolling. So after the round, we do have beers or cocktails afterwards and just sit and reminisce, with the guys and that. And at that point, normally that's when I'll switch over to a nice IPA or or something like that, depending on where we're at and what they got on tap. So
Right. I was going to ask, do you know someone, or does someone like hit it hard with something heavy like that while you're golfing, or just it does not work?
I tell you what, I know. And he might watch it. So when I actually, when I was up there, if you remember, I contacted you about going to see Endgame together, because I was happened to be up in Livermore at the time with my buddy.
That's right. Yes.
And me and him have golfed out at Pebble Beach, which is the mecca for golf, right? I mean, this is, the holy grail of places to play. Right. And the first time we played there, he's a really, really, really good golfer.
Okay.
He played unfathomably bad.
Really?
Like someone.
Now, Pebble is here in the Pebble's on the coast, right? Up here in the Bay. Pebble's Monterey.
Monterey, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So a horrific round.
Yeah, just because he was so nervous and that. So I mean, he dreamt of playing this round his entire life. The next time we played there. So the next time, and it is, and for everyone that golfs regularly, I mean, playing there is a bucket list thing, Okay. And so that was just brutal. So the next time we played there, I can remember I'm sharing a room with him, and we're getting ready to leave to go to the course. We have like 7:30 a.m. tee time, so it's like 6 a.m. when we're getting up, and he's drinking a Coors Light. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I'm not going to do this again. I gotta like chill myself out. So he's drinking a Coors Light. We drive to the course. He's drinking airplane bottles of vodka.
Wow.
He has 2 of those. We get there, get off the first tee. Our caddy, because you pay for a caddy there, whatever. Yeah. The caddy turns to me, he goes, "Is your friend drunk?" Like, no, he's just taking the edge off. It's taking the edge off. And he played phenomenal. I think he shot 6 over that day.
Wow.
Played for, but he had to get himself into the place where he was no longer, where he could just chill and play. He had to get all the nervousness out of his system. So
that's wild, because I just I don't even know what kind of situation I'd have to be in to load up like that, because I'm like trying to figure. So I mean, I don't play golf, right? But I'm like, I don't know what I'd have to do. That's actually an interesting question. I'd have to think about that.
I could never do that. Like I would be a puddle. I would just give up on a round, and I would just be like, okay, we're having fun, because there's no way I'm playing good golf at that point. But so what I was saying is, some people do that, some people don't.
Yeah.
All of it and how you react to stuff.
Yeah. Now, is he a member, or did you know someone, or how did you guys get in?
Well, it's a public course.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just really expensive to play, and so he had apparently out where you are, you can buy a card down there that gets you discounts on rounds and stuff out there on the peninsula, where the courses are and stuff like that. So we played a number of the other courses around there, and then finally got around to playing that one.
Got it. Okay, because I mean, it's just like, that's one of those things, right? It's like, if that's the Mecca, it's like, fortunately it's public, right? I mean, it's like saying, yeah, I went to the Playboy Mansion for a party, but you got to get invited. So
right, yeah, no, that place, you just got to be willing to spend the ridiculous amount they charge to do it.
was around 4? Was it 4 digits? Was it over 1,000?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't quite that bad, but it's expensive,
relatively speaking.
and to be honest with you, by the time you get done buying all the merchandise that you're going to get, and paying for the caddy, paying for lunch, paying for dinner, and everything else, yeah, it probably is 4 digits. They're taking off.
Okay, got it. But then it's the experience, right? It's not just like, I'm just gonna do this. No, you got to absorb it all.
I remember every round I've ever played there like it was yesterday, and they all were very special.
That's so cool. That is so cool. Now, did you see anyone there, or was it like at an off time where there wasn't like other pro golfers there? Or?
So the first time, so there wasn't any. I didn't see any pro golfers there. The first time I played, Tim Tebow was playing behind us. This is when he just got drafted by the Broncos. It was the year he got drafted. In fact, he was working with Noel Mazzoni, who was ASU offensive coordinator, or we had just hired him as offensive coordinator, and Tebow was in our offseason working with him. And so I'm in the clubhouse afterwards buying my merchandise. You're looking at stuff, and Tebow comes in, and I'm like, holy, it's like he just won the Heisman, he won the national title, and this
Right,
is
exactly.
right. And it's like I feel like I gotta say something, but I don't really like to approach people like
Of
that.
course.
I don't want to. But I was like, we got the Noel Mazzoni thing here, so like I'll just start. Hey, I'm like, hey, Tim, I heard you've been working with Noel Mazzoni. We just hired him as our offense coordinator. What do you think of him? And so then he just opens up and he starts talking.
Oh, that's cool.
So we just had a quick little nice conversation. He was super, super nice, super gracious, and just really just a down to earth dude.
Well, I think that's the best way to do it, right? You didn't fangirl, right? You thought about something that he was like willing to share his opinions about and kind of diffuse a situation rather than, it's like, can I have a selfie autograph? Because I guess I'd imagine, like you said, a Heisman winner has to be somewhat protective and shut in a way.
Well, and I mean, this was a point where it wasn't like this is when he's just coming out of college. You didn't know what he was going to be in the NFL. He was, first round pick coming up. You didn't know where he's going to. I don't think so. This was in January. The draft's in April, so he hadn't even been. He didn't know where he was going to be drafted. He was working on becoming. That's why he's working with Noel Mazzoni, so he could become more of a drop back guy. It wasn't just this, typecast guy, and so there was a lot of unknowns about him and how big he was going to be at that. I mean, coming out of college, he was, like I say, dude just won the Heisman Trophy, man.
Yeah, and I think he had he got the national.
Two of them.
That year, yeah. Same exact year. So yeah, so he was able to pull that one off. So that's very cool, right? And so you've played twice, right?
I played it 3 times. The last time I played it was my brother's 50th birthday.
Okay.
His wife gave him, for his birthday, two, or kind of a thing for 2 people to go up there and play 3 courses: Spanish Bay, Spyglass, and Pebble Beach.
Wow.
And stay right there, which is this is like the most phenomenal golf weekend you can have. And he called me up. I remember I was at work, and he calls me up on like a Monday or Tuesday, and he's like, hey, so this is kind of, the deal. He's like, would you be interested in going? I'm like, I don't know. Let me check my calendar and see what I got, and then I remember hanging up the phone, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why would so I called him back like within 5 minutes, like literally, and I'm like, wait, yeah, no, I'm in. Yeah, no, I'll go. I'm 100% in. Yeah, count it down. And so so we got to go out there for his 50th birthday, and that was just a fantastic weekend. We got so lucky because it was the 2 of us, and we got paired with just phenomenal people every day.
That's cool.
That were really great, and I remember just kind of each of them was their own thing, but they were all just super nice, and it was we had just a phenomenal time each day that we played out there.
That must make a world of difference, though, because when you're going, it's someplace that I guess at least kind of know the type of people you're getting, right? But when you're out of town, away from home, and everything else, it's just like, what happens if you do get that asshole or that bad man? Have you had a bad pairing before?
Yeah, it's like with anything, dude. Look, I'm a pretty easygoing dude, and I've golfed enough in my life. I'll go out and play by myself. It doesn't really matter to me. I'll go get a tee time just when my buddies aren't available. I'll just get a single and we go out and play if I feel like playing, and I can make pretty good pretty fast friends with anyone. If people are jerks, they're jerks, and you just bail, whatever. You just don't. I try to just not let them affect me. It's like, thankfully, I've never really had that experience when I'm playing a nice round or a round somewhere, really a course that I really, care about. It's most people that I've come across tend to be pretty decent people and pretty fun folks, and you get into them.
That's excellent. And unfortunately, that would be the case with Pebble Beach, right? Even though it's public, right? I think it's like you said, it's a destination for everyone. They're just kind of happy to be there, right? So
everyone, everyone's and you said it exactly right. Everyone's just excited to be out there playing. You're playing at one of the most beautiful courses in the world. If you're ticked off, turn to the right and look at the ocean, and realize you're hitting a shot over water off a cliff to a perfectly manicured green. It's like, yeah, You know,
And it's probably always just
drink some wine. You're going to have some appetizer before you go have an amazing meal. You know, there's worse things you can be doing.
yeah. I mean, I can now. Do they have a clubhouse, right? Are the locker rooms like really beautiful? Is even given that it's public, is it just like? Because I've been to a few private places, and so I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, so they don't really have locker rooms for you there, but they do have a couple grills there, and their famous one, the tap room, is phenomenal. You know, so we were luckily we were staying right there on the property, so we just took our stuff
Cool.
to the room and you just walk down to the tap, you know, clean up, walk down to the tap room. In fact, we took our putters and a couple balls with us when we went to the putting green. We had me and my brother had a putt off for who would pay for dinner. So we and as it being his 50th birthday, I will say this: I was not going to allow him to pay for dinner.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to win that match, but I wasn't trying to lose. I was trying to make my putt, but he ended up sinking the putt from like 30 feet in like the pitch black dark. I don't know how this thing went in, but it did, and so he won. So I bought dinner anyway, which I was always going to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, their tap room there is it might be the most famous kind of after round watering hole in golf.
Interesting.
It's going to be very well renowned for a place to go, and it's well worth it.
I'd like to go just to get a meal. I just go there and just eat.
Tell you what, their restaurant is it's up there with the best steakhouses you'll find.
It's always because I mean I'm always looking for a good steak, so I think that'll always be, and it'll make it for a worthwhile trip. So I love it. So now I see that you have. I've been admiring your Masters frame in the background. Tell me a little bit about that one.
So it's funny. So that's the Tiger Woods one there. I have actually have two others. I have almost the exact same photo of Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. So kind of. It's almost the exact same frames. I am a casual golfer. I would say I probably know more than just most people with following golf, but I'm not somebody that watches every single tournament or knows all the guys or stuff like that. My friend Brett that we golf with every week, he had a golf show on the radio for quite a while, and I mean he sees every tour, he knows guys on the mini tour, the whole thing, and stuff, but. There's one thing that my favorite sporting event in all of the world is the Masters.
Is it? Okay. Tell me why. And the reason I'm asking this is because everyone buzzes about it. I've never watched it, so tell me why. And again, a know nothing like me, how to become a fan. So why is it your first? Why do you love it so much first?
So the Masters is just the quintessential golf experience. It's just, I don't know how to say it without being just sounding like an a-hole.
Please.
It's a very exclusive thing. Presidents have tried to join Augusta National and can't get in there. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't get in there without them inviting. Okay. I mean, the amount of money you have doesn't matter to them. So I've been to the Masters twice, in 2012 and 2013.
Okay.
And so to give people a perspective on how the Masters functions in comparison to most other corporate events, and things like that. I can remember when we went there in 2012. We took a bus to get down to the actual where they drop you off by the gate there. There was parking across the street because there's housing developments right there, and not like nice housing. Like, I mean, this is like it's not in a really great neighborhood.
Interesting.
Okay. But like the finest golf course in maybe the world is in like a kind of a shady area, right? And and people were charging like $60 for you to park a car in their yard. Okay. By the time we went there the next year, 2013, the Masters went and bought every one of those houses. They paid the people. I mean, you're talking houses that are worth $100,000, $200,000 maybe. They paid them $1 million each for their house. They bought all the houses. They leveled everything, and now you park there for free. Okay. I mean, like that's how they function.
Right.
You know, they just function on a level that just doesn't make sense. You know, it's almost impossible to get tickets for it. I mean, it's Poppy. I don't know if he's on tonight, but he's tried to get tickets to go to the Masters. Number, you have to get drawn to get tickets.
Interesting.
Or you have to somehow know someone because the tickets get rolled over year to year. If you get tickets one year, you have to have the ticket. So if I sold it to you, I don't get my ticket. I have to have my
get it. You need the stub. Wow.
You know, and so you have this really exclusivity to just even getting into the tournament itself. And then once you get in, I mean, a beer is $2.
Wow.
You know, a domestic is $2.50. You know, a sandwich. You know, you want to get a hamburger. You want to get a ham sandwich. Those are $1 or $1.50.
That is so opposite of what I would think.
Chips are $0.25 or 50 cents. I mean, it's just they charge like I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's the craziest. So to me, and especially after having been there, the tournament had always held a special place in my heart, just even before there, because it's so the mystique of the club is always that. But after going there, it was just even more so. It's like, man, it's cool. A special place.
That's very cool. And so how many days were you there for that?
So the first year we went, we were there from Sunday to Thursday. Mm-hmm. So we did most of the practice rounds and then went to the first round of the tournament. We flew back Friday. The second time we went, we came in Wednesday and we were there through Monday. So we went to, we didn't go Thursday, but we went Friday, we went Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
Out there. So yeah, it was, and it was great because the second year we went, so me and my brother went out there and we took my dad. And there's nothing better than, you know, like, I mean, it is kind of a thing. Fathers and sons at the Masters. Jack Nicklaus, when he won his last major at age 46, was the Masters, and he had his son Jack on the bag.
Oh, you know, right on.
It's kind of always been a father-son thing, and it's always been a kind of place like that is a really special deal because they do a whole the par 3 tournament. A lot of times the players have their kids on the bag, or I mean, even when they're really little, to have them in their little dressed out in the white caddy outfits and stuff like that, and the kids out there. So it's always really been that, and so to be able to go out there and do a whole the weekend at the Masters with our dad was a super special time.
That is very cool. No, that's definitely, like you said, you made it your own, and that's especially it. But now, as someone who has never seen or watched the Masters, right? What is it about? What is it if someone's trying to watch it for the first time, or what to do, or what to expect, or get into it for the first time? What would you tell me or someone else?
Come over to my house on Sunday for the Masters, because I usually host a big party here. I have my Masters shirt, my Masters shorts, my Masters hat on, my Masters glasses. I have the 3 big screens going, because I got the main big screen, the 2 up top. So we got all the holes going at once. You know, we're gonna and we do. I usually smoke up a brisket and some ribs, and we just settle in and just have a great day watching the Masters. Yeah, if you're watching the tournament, you know, if you're tuning into it, it's just going to be, the golf course is impossibly hard. You know, and for the best players in the world, it is a true test, because it's not just a course you can overpower by distance. It's not a course you can just destroy in any way. You have to be able to think your way around. You know, Tiger Woods won it in 2019, not by, you know, out driving everyone or this and that, but he just played the course smarter than everyone else did.
Interesting.
And it just tests you in all the best ways that golf can test you. And you have to be really playing your, you know, and then that's probably the unique thing about Augusta National is a older golfer really still has a chance there. You know, the U.S. Open, you know, British Open, things like that. It's hard for a older golfer to compete with the young guys that are driving it so far by them.
Okay.
And you know, and have an advantage. Well, out of Augusta National, it's more about the knowledge you have than necessarily just being able to dominate the course like that. So once you've seen, I mean, everything on the course is just manicured to perfection. I can remember standing in an area that was 200 yards away from anywhere that anyone would ever be on that course, and it's manicured to perfection.
That must
be why would
it
be actually shaved perfectly? Well, because that's what they do.
It's like attention to detail, right? Because it's like nothing left unturned, right? Every single angle. It's almost like a Disneyland, right? No matter where you look, there's a Mickey Mouse, and they're always cleaning. And that's the same thing it sounds like here at Augusta, where it's just like it's all part of what they are. If it's not, because that, God forbid, someone spots something that isn't manicured, and then that ruins the whole experience, right? Everything has to be to perfection, if you will.
One of my favorite stories that I've heard about Augusta National is, so every golf course has a superintendent, and they're in charge of how the course looks, how it gets watered, what's going on everywhere. Augusta National, they don't have a superintendent. They have a superintendent for every hole.
Wow.
So they have a guy whose sole job is to make that one hole look absolutely perfect.
Wow.
I mean, that's the extent that they go to. I mean, it's just, it's incredible,
That must be wild.
And you see that in the end product, they
of course. No, of course. I mean, I can only imagine what they do, and just the arrangement and the coordination that they each have, the responsibility that they have for, and the tradition that they realize that they're responsible for.
The people that work out there, to give you an idea, the volunteers that work the course. I remember talking with a couple of guys out there. In fact, one guy, he was the dude that held the rope up on 15. Okay. To let people, and I'm sitting there and he's on his break, he's having a sandwich really quick, and we're talking. I'm like, so how do you get this job? He goes, I'm like, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm a lawyer out of Charlotte. I'm like, you're a lawyer in Charlotte? Like, why are you doing a volunteer thing out here? He's like, I've been doing this for 4 years. He's like, the whole deal is like, and it took me about 8 years to get the deal.
Wow.
And the whole reason he does it, he's like, I get to come out here, I do this, I'm at the Masters every year, I do all this, and then what they do for the people that volunteer, you go into a drawing, and 1/3 of the volunteers get drawn, and they get to play the course right the last day before they close it for the summer.
Wow.
So the last day that they had the course open for the summer, the 1/3 of the volunteers that get drawn get to come out and play for free, and it's free obviously, but they play and they get one round there, and then they play the par 3 course as many times as they want.
Wow. Oh, that's brilliant. So are you on that volunteer list?
Well, I'm not. I wish. Dude's a flipping lawyer. I mean,
exactly.
Like in Charlotte, I mean, and he's like volunteering to work, at a golf tournament. And I would too if I was him. I'm like, heck yeah.
If you could get on that list, why not? Right? Get on the volunteer list. They call you. It's like, show your ass up. I'm like, I'm gone. Don't call me for a week. That must be unreal. And I can only imagine. I would guess the volunteers get some sort of swag, but I guess it doesn't, man. I mean, if you get the uniform, you get to carry that around with you. That's enough.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that whatever you're wearing, anything you have that has the Masters logo on it comes from there. You can't buy it anywhere else. It doesn't. Okay. You can't buy it except when you're there, which is and again to them is the greatest experience ever, because they have these huge stores or kind of areas you go into, because everyone's going to buy swag. So you go through, they have all this merchandise there. You go through, you buy all your crap because it's just going to be a ton. And then what happens? Well, you're going to have to carry all this crap around with you around the golf course. No one wants to do that, right? I mean, that's just miserable.
Exactly.
So what do? As soon as you pay for your stuff and you walk out, it takes you right around the corner to the left, and there's a FedEx tent right there. And you walk over, you box your stuff up, and they ship it to you.
Right.
Carry anything.
You don't have to worry about it all. It just appears. Yeah. Unless you're going to wear it while you're there. It's waiting for you.
How they set it up, it's the best tournament that's ever happened.
That is so cool. So, and again, speaking of Augusta and Pebble, right? I mean, those are definitely two of the courses that I've heard of. And again, thanks everyone for joining. Got Adam Blomker on the line, and we're just going to chatting about golf, and we're going to be chatting about a little bit more. But my question to you is, those are the big two that I know of. Is there a course out there that you haven't played yet that you still want to?
That I haven't played that I still want to. I mean, there's probably a lot. I mean, I'm the one big one that I hadn't played that I really wanted to. I knocked out for my 40th birthday. I did kind of the same thing that my brother done for his 50th, where his wife bought him a thing. I didn't have a wife, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take some of my buddies, and we're going to go and we're going to do a golf trip up to Bandon Dunes and do that, which is in Oregon, Bandon, Oregon. Okay. And that was one of the great weeks of my life. I had so much fun with my friends that went up there, and we had just a phenomenal time. And just there's literally nothing to do there except golf. I mean, the town is nothing. There's literally nothing to do except if you don't love golf, you're going to despise being up there because
really.
It's just there. I mean, at Bandon Dunes Central, there's nothing. There's Pebble Beach. There's a spa, world class spa. You can go to Monterey. There's the aquarium. You can go to Carmel. I mean, heck, San Francisco is not far away.
Exactly.
There's a lot to do right there. Bandon, there's nothing but golf and more golf, and hopefully you like whiskey.
Oh. See, that's a nice one too. But even the town doesn't even support. It's just golf. It's just golf and go from there. I mean, there's got to be restaurants around there, right? I mean, I love to eat.
Before I'd ever even golfed there, I actually had been up there. I did a trip where I drove from San Francisco up the Oregon coast, and then I did a few days doing that, and then went to Eugene, and actually saw ASU play Oregon in Eugene with my friend up there. And when I was on the course, I'd gone to Bandon a couple of days, and there's literally, I mean, like I was just doing like some photography stuff and that, and so I'd be out there past sunsets and stuff like that, trying to capture some good stuff. And then I would go into the Bandon to grab something to eat, and there's like 2 restaurants. Like literally, there's like 2 restaurants, and they close by like 9.
Right.
I mean, it's there's not a lot there, so.
Yeah, you don't show up on time, you're doomed. And that's kind of like we were talking about. So a few weeks ago, me and the family went to Tahoe, and we stayed at Tahoe City, and that whole place shuts down at 9. It's like there's this one pizza place that was near the hotel, and they ran out of pizza at 5 o'clock. You actually have to call your order the day before. So this way you kind of get in and you're ahead of this. So they're open, but they don't have any pizza for anyone because they're waiting on people to pick up. Like, let's say they ordered a pizza at 8.
I mean, pizza, that's brutal.
It's a small town thing, I guess, right? Because I mean, it's just like I think Tahoe City only had like 1,000 people or so, but it's anyway. But no, that's very cool that you're able. So now, where is that in Oregon? Is it on the coast? Is it?
Yeah, so it's on the coast. It's on the coast. It's just it's kind of in the southern end of Oregon. Do you know Coos Bay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so it's just south of Coos Bay, about a half hour.
Okay.
Coos Bay. So when I drove up there, I think I left San Francisco. I drove up to Eureka. I stayed in Eureka at night, went through the Redwood Forest the next day, and then drove up to Coos Bay, and then stayed in Coos Bay for like 3 days.
Okay, got it.
Down the coast there.
Yeah, that's one of the drives I want to do now is just drive up and down the coast. I mean, I can't do it in Central Coast because of that big old rock slide near Big Sur, but going up that coast because I have family in Astoria, so I would love that. 5 is cool and all, and it's the one that gets you there faster. But that coast drive it takes you forever, but it's just a beautiful drive.
And that's the thing. It's like it's so worth it, I mean, and obviously that trip I was doing a whole bunch of like photography stuff and stuff like that too. So I was just really I didn't care about the time. It was more about I'm going to the place where we're going to have some interesting photographs happen. So.
I was going to ask that too, and that's actually kind of interesting because Sherry Brooks takes photography. Do you still have have you shared? Because I don't know if I've ever seen some of your work.
And probably haven't. I haven't been the I haven't really been doing as much of it as of late. I was doing quite a bit of it, probably 5, 6, and even 5 years before that. So I had about a good 6, 7, 8 year span where I was really, really into it and doing a lot of that.
Okay.
I've probably done less than that. I've been trying to get a little more into it and doing some recently, a little bit more, taking the cameras out again and that and stuff. But I don't really share a whole ton of stuff. I think if you're on the Facebook page, you can go and see actually from that Oregon trip. You can see the photos I posted there from that, which are some of my favorite. It was such an amazing trip. It's funny. Most of my photography stuff I don't really put out too much. It's more for me than anything else. I'm sharpening my chops so I can do some great portraits for PJ.
Yeah, hopefully that's going to be hopefully you get paid and hopefully you get overtime for the touch.
I will only accept beer payments.
Yeah, I mean you probably may get paid for all that touch up. I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's funny because I was doing a lot, especially because I had nieces and nephews, and they're 12, 13 now. And so I was kind of doing telling them when they were really young and that kind of thing, and really I love going back to some of that stuff and really had some great photos of them and that kind of thing. But most of my favorite stuff, most of this photography I did was either landscape, nature kind of stuff like that, or I like some street photography. And that, which was one of the reasons why I love going up to San Francisco so much, because it's probably one of my favorite cities I've ever been to for street photography. You could just wander. I could wander around every day, all day, and just find all kinds of interesting folks and scenes and beautiful backdrops, etc. everywhere you want.
That's it. The Paris of the Pacific, I think, is what Twain called it. So, no, it's definitely, that's always good to be able to drive out, because my cousin lives in Diamond Heights, and so it's west of the city, and so it's up on the hill. So it's looking down. You can see the entire city and the bay and the East Bay, Berkeley, all that other stuff. So it's always cool to be up there. But I mean, I don't know if I could spend that amount for a 2-bed, 1-bath condo.
Exactly right. I hear you. Back in the days, I remember scoping out prices for condos and stuff up there, and it's like, man, that's a lot.
Well, I mean, when we bought this house, I mean, it was, so when we first moved up here, we were looking at houses in Livermore right when the boom, during the .com boom. So house prices were coming up, but when I was living in Arizona in the 1900s, you were still seeing houses, 60, 70. And then we came out here and we saw something equivalent, and we just looked at them and it was like 375. And we're like, we weren't ready for that, but it's always good to see. So what are you drinking right now, by the way? I'm only drinking a little bit of Pinot here.
I'm staying hydrated with some water, because that's always key.
Yes, sir.
I built the base earlier. I started out with the Tower Station from Mother Brewing up in Flagstaff.
Oh, right on.
This is a beer I almost forget about pretty regularly, because it's so it's just an Arizona beer that I forget how good it is until I go buy it again. It's like, gosh, I really like that beer. Like, I almost forget to get it as often as I should. So I picked up a little 4-pack of cans from there today, and so I'm starting out with that one. I have a couple more on ice here next to me that to go to.
Right on. It's been years. I dare I say decades since I've been up to Flag, but I absolutely love hearing all the breweries and the stories of how it's up and coming. Everyone that's just up there making a go of it, because I've always loved visiting Flag, so it's always good to see that it's doing well.
I don't get up there near as much as I'd like as well. Every time I go up there, it's like, God, I got to come up here more, and then I just you never do, and it's like,
yeah, I know.
like I just super enjoy every time I'm up there. And you're right, there are a lot of great breweries up there. I think Mother Road is probably the cream of the crop up there, but there are a number of other. Dark Sky is great. Lumberyard's really good. There's a number of them up there that are worth the trip.
Yeah, because I was always curious. I don't know, and again, this may be for PJ. I'm always curious to see which ones don't make it out of flag, just they try to keep it for flag purposes, right? I mean, I think you're just keeping it exclusive in some way.
Yeah,
but that's always good. And so, so that's. I mean, I'm doing this here. I got my PD42, my 20. This is a 2020 edition glass, so I'm actually gonna drink out of this. So after the Pats run, I'm actually gonna have a Guinness and this at the end of my activity, nice. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stream and drink it real quickly. I
have a 4-pack of those as well here. So I regret that I'm not drinking out of it right now. I should have thought that.
You bought 2 of them? Because I only bought. You know what it is? We got to figure out a way to send this one. I promised Gus Farwell a set, so I got to get him a set.
Yeah, I bought 4 of them total, I believe. So
okay, got it. Are you gonna participate in the Pats run? Are you gonna volunteer, do anything like that?
I haven't volunteered, but I run in it, or or some version of running. Let's just
we're running. We're built to finish, man. We're not built for speed.
So I've done it every year for the last, I believe it's 9 years, or this may be my 10th year for me. I'll have to look at how many shirts I have. So I've done it, every year that I could. In fact, last year I did not. I took off to, or maybe it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think it was. I flew up to go. I was going to schedule to do the run,
right?
And the week before, my buddy calls up. He goes, "Hey, I got an opening for our member guest. Can you come up and play with me?"
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So I flew up to Livermore.
Okay.
And I played golf with him, and so that was the week of Pat's run, and I'd signed up, and so I gave my bib to someone else so they could run in it. So this had to be 19 because they actually had the run, and I told it was a friend of PJ's that took it, and I'm like, I told PJ, I'm like, the only thing I want is I want the medal. Okay, I want that whatever they get at the end. Okay, yeah. You have to bring that for me, but don't give it to me because the next weekend I'm going to run it on my own.
Right on.
I'll show you that I ran it, and then I get my medal. And so so I did the week. So I ran it by myself the weekend after. On I live right behind the green belt here in Scottsdale, and I ran through.
Right on.
Ran my 4.2 miles out there, and that sucked. And I finished it, and I got my medal, and it was good. So so I've done it. I've done it each year. This year, I can already tell PJ's been training his butt off, and he's going to crush me.
Oh, really?
By a mile. So, but yeah, I will absolutely be out doing it. 100%.
So now, what time does it usually start? I guess it starts in the middle, like in the darkness, right? Super early, or is it?
Well, so out here, so normally when you do it here, it starts at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Is the supposedly is the first ones out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they never go off on time, it seems like. So I can tell you this. So my first Pats run, I hadn't done it for the first, I don't know, I think 5 years or something they did it, or however many years it was when I did my first one. I go out there and I get there. I had no idea what's going on. Park, I walk up, you try to walk up, and you're out there at 6 something in the morning, and you're trying to figure this out, and you get on Packard, Rio Salado, and Packard. You're going south along Packard, so you got the ballpark was on the east side, the stadium on the west side, and you're heading south towards 6th Street, and I'm looking, and this is packed full of people, and you have to find your corral. And I'm walking along the corral, and it's like corral 1, corral 2, and the corral, and I'm looking like, man, people are like really in shape here. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I mean, like, there's a lot of really hot girls here. And I'm like, I should have been doing this for forever. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I got around the corner, and you go back, and you kind of go up, and you go to the parking lot of Packard, and they have the other corrals there. And by the time I finally get to my corral, like my corral has like people smoking cigarettes. And I'm like, yep, here's my people. There we go.
That's funny.
They're no longer the hot chicks, and the spandex and all. No, they're up there. My people are right here.
It's all the Wagyu and the Kobe beef, and then now it's all where it's like, yeah, we're down here. We're the genetically engineered leftovers.
The people that are going to do 4.2 miles with the cooler. That's what I'm rolling with.
That's funny. It almost sounds like kind of like Beta Breakers. It was a big run that they would do from the port of San Francisco all the way down Market, up the hills, all the way to the beach. So it was a one big fat run. So you'd have people, serious runners, but then you'd have people that would be in big old costumes, and then you'd have the runners that are drinking and all this other stuff. So yeah, so that's, like you said, I guess it just degraded as you get further back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the hotness of the folks just went slowly.
Hey, this is really cool. It's almost it's like one of those movie scenes where you're like, oh, this is where I belong, and then you just like, oh no, you keep descending into darkness.
Oh, this is great. Oh wait, no, I'm not here. Oh,
oh wait, no, I'm not. And then it keeps going. Oh, I'm not here.
How far back? Right, exactly. Yeah,
exactly. It keeps getting worse and worse. So actually, PJ just shared a picture on social media. I just retweeted it out. You were saying it was one of your favorite pictures, one of his favorite pictures that you took, I guess, at the Craft Fight Hunger Bowl. So you were there at the
the
Giants
Navy up in San Francisco.
Yeah,
that was
there.
That was we had a lot of fun up there. That was
I didn't know you guys. I didn't know many of
our team that night too, or that day.
Say that again.
Just a dominant performance by our team that day too.
It was brilliant.
Will Sutton was just unstoppable, unblockable that day.
They were triple teaming him, and he was possessed. I mean, it was just unbelievable defensive play. I mean, yeah, because I was on a plane during this time. I was actually coming back from Orlando, and so I was I was on the leg from Denver back to San Francisco, and so I watched the game from the plane the entire time. So I missed all of you, but then again, I didn't know any of you back then. I didn't know any of you guys back then.
To me too, that and I always think of the Twitterverse as being, it can be such a toxic place, and it can be such, I don't try to spend much time on that stuff, and I do think of it as more. When I think of Twitter, I think of the place where I met, like, someone like you, Tim, Abel, all the J-pop, a whole bunch of the guys that come out to the debates and stuff like that. Where I gotten to know, like Joe and Kyle, who's been on your page, the Denny's, and all that. I mean, Ralph Hamsden, etc. I mean, that it seems like, to me, that's what I reflect on Twitter as. Is like I've gotten to know a lot of really cool people, and a lot of people that I have a lot of admiration for, through there. And I kind of try to just screen out the, all the other noise.
And I think that's a brilliant way of approaching it, right? Because again, I kind of got heavy into it and got caught up in the echo chamber, if you will, and so then trying to definitely space myself back from that, because again, like you said, if it wasn't for Facebook and for Twitter and even Instagram, if it wasn't for those social media platforms, I wouldn't know any of you, right? I wouldn't been able to connect and visit and chat like we do now, and so definitely grateful for that. So always, to your point, it's always good to filter out the ass, because the ass can make a mess out there anyway. And Mr. Kennedy, Crafty Creative, is out there on the show, in the chat and in the show. So he gives us a shout out. So love the masks, my man. Hopefully the masks are doing well for you. Did you get one of those, by the way?
Oh God, yes.
How many? Which ones did you get? Which ones did you get?
The Crafty Creative one. Oh, the Sparky.
The Sparky one. You're able to get your hands on that one.
Oh
before it
yeah.
was mascots, which is cool.
Yeah, I got one of the. I don't think I was the very first run, but I got the second run that he did, which was the one like right after it.
Right.
Got that, loved it, and it's funny because I think I mentioned this to him before, to Dave, and it's like, I get so many comments on that mask all the time. People are just like, "That's such a great mask," or even people that don't really get it. They're just like, That's it just looks like you're happy
Exactly.
in that mask," and I'm like, "That's so great. I love that." It's like, and that's exactly what I'm glad it projects that, because I am, and
Right.
so to me, it's such a great a mask. And two, it fits my big ass face. Okay, because a lot of these masks are little teeny tiny, and they're stretching my freaking ears up here, and it's like, no, that mask fits my big old melon head just fine. It's a great job.
That's especially with the straps too, up above and below, right? Because you can adjust them and everything else. Because like you said, I have a lot of other masks that just keep pulling forward, and my ears look like all cracked up. So absolutely. So no, that was the other thing. He was actually nice enough to send me. I think I have it in here. I may have shown you this one. He sent me this one. It was one of his test masks. So I was actually kind of jazzed to get one of his Star Wars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was actually pretty cool. I was like, so I have a design in mind, so I may have to I have a design in mind, so I have to work with him on getting it out there, because I think it would work well, but I don't know.
Can Jedi actually wear the Darth Vader version of that? I mean, like,
That's the interesting thing too, right? I'll wear the hell out of it.
Is that too far? I mean, like,
You know what I've seen though? There's some people that are getting creative. They're making 3D masks. They're using the 3D printer to make big masks like this, but they're bulky as hell. So I don't know if I'd be able to wear something that heavy. I'd be just like, if it's printed, then it's fine. I'm like,
right.
I'm okay with that. So, but shout out to everyone who's in the chat and spending some time with us today. What are you watching, by the way? I thought you saw you have a game on or something.
So I had the Coyotes game on. The Coyotes Avalanche hockey game is going.
How they doing?
I believe they're down 1-0 to the Avalanche right now.
What period is it?
I believe. Damn, all these questions. I'm trying to pay attention to you. I don't know.
Come on, that's like all kinds of stuff.
It's the second period. It seems right. Second period.
Right on.
I'm going to stick with that until somebody proves me otherwise.
Until someone corrects us. I mean, to the internet, someone will tweet it at us on the big screen here that I have. But anyway, that's good. So now it's top of the hour, obviously. So everyone, thank you again for joining. It is the top of the hour, and it is our traditional time to be able to go ahead and take a bio break, refill your drink, and just take a moment, because again, it is always a good run. But what we're going to have is PJ Saturno is going to join us. Crafty Devils is going to join us and share with us his beer of the week. Ha! I got it out. I finally got it out. So so that's what we're going to do right now. So 7:57 right now. Come back about 10 after 8, 10, 9, 10 there for you, or 10 after for whatever time zone you're in. And we'll make that one happen. Adam, go ahead. I'm going to take you off the stream for a moment, and you can go ahead and stretch your legs, do what you need, and go from there. But I'll see you in about 10 minutes, my friend.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And let me see. I am still trying to figure out how to make this one happen. Look at that. And I figured it out. All right. It is 7:58. We will be back in about 12 minutes, 10 after. Go ahead, refill your drink, get yourself, go hit the head, whatever else you need to do. And then we will do our segment on Crafty's beer of the week. And then we'll talk a little bit of some ASU with Adam as well. So see you in 10 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Be right back. Welcome back, socialites. How are you? Hopefully, you had a good break. I am still nursing my Pinot Noir, so everything else is just fine. Again, happy Friday. We have Adam Blomker as our guest, and we also have PJ Saturno on. So let me go ahead and see if I can make this one happen. Change my overlay, add Adam, and then add Crafty. And there we are. Welcome back.
Awesome.
How you doing, BJ? What's going
Hello,
on?
gentlemen.
What's going on with you? Hopefully.
Well, I had to put my Tornado shirt on because it's one of the best beer bars in the country that Adam turned me on to. And so I figured this week's Beer of the Week would all be in tribute to him, who's, I think pretty much everyone that's watching your show knows that Adam and I have become best friends over the last 8 or 9 years. And so this is a phenomenal bar in San Francisco that he made me go to, and now is one of my absolute favorites.
Absolute West Coast, best coast. No, that's excellent. And so then how many, what are you drinking from Tornado today?
Actually, I thought to this week's Beer of the Week, it made it easy for me. It would be one of the beers that Adam actually turned me on to from one of his hometown breweries. He's from Minnesota, and he's a big Surly Brewing fan, and their IPA, Todd the Axeman, is still one of the highest rated beers on Beer Advocate, and it is absolutely delicious. So I figured this would be a perfect beer for him this week, and nice IPA that it's one of those beers that you forget about. One of our buddies, Peter Dysert from Chicago, posted himself drinking one this week, and it kind of reminded me. So I went out and grabbed a 4-pack, dropped one off for Adam, and I thought it would be the perfect beer for the week for his show. So Todd the Axeman from Surly Brewing.
That is very.
And so, alcohol percentage? IBU, I guess is what the term is.
I think it's right at 8% or so.
Okay, not bad.
It's just at the double IPA level. Adam will have to check. His eyesight's better than mine.
7-2.
7.2? It's a
That's not
Piker's
bad at all.
drink, so
Just an easy drinking every day.
Absolutely. So I've seen Adam drink plenty of beers that are well below that in one sitting. So
Yeah, because anything over that is, like you said, it's the loaf of bread.
yeah, it's easy.
Excellent. No, and how is everything with you? How did February treat you now that February's almost over?
Absolutely fantastic. Actually, I had my 57th birthday. And as Adam mentioned earlier, trying to get in shape to run Pat's Run so I don't die when I finish. And had the good fortune. Adam was out with his family last night in the neighborhood and stopped by, had a couple beers, and watched the finish of the ASU basketball game, which has been a painful experience, I think, this year. So last night, thankfully, we got the W, and it's been a tough year, though.
It has, and it's kind of similar to what I tweeted last night. Can we just play UW 20 times?
Yeah, and that got to be a scary predicament in midway through the second half last night as well. So
What happened? I didn't get to watch.
maybe not.
I was actually working.
Yeah, we trailed much of that game.
Oh, really? So they came back and pulled it off. I mean, that's always,
Yeah.
at least that's the one thing is that they're going to grind and hustle and do something. It's just a matter of if we shoot ourselves in the foot early, then we're going to limp them up.
I think this year has been, I mean, I know that everyone on Twitter wants to just bash ASU, but I mean, if you really look at who we've had on the court, I mean, there's just been no consistency whatsoever. We haven't had the same group of guys out on the court basically all year. So many of our top players have missed the year. I don't anticipate we'll see, Christopher Bagley probably till the P12 tournament.
If that,
I'm not sure there's a huge, and quite truthfully, maybe not even then, but I don't think there's much benefit to bring those guys back from their own personal perspective. We really missed Jalen House last night, which is, I've probably been one of his bigger critics, through his first year and a half, but this year he's really been a catalyst for the team, in my opinion. And Remy's been absolutely fantastic. And I know there's been a lot of people that have been critical on Twitter about him over the course of the past several years, but he's really grown into a fantastic player. So I do miss, Adam and I, went to all the games, in previous years, and not being able to be there has been a hard thing for us for both basketball and football. And Adam truly turned me on to becoming a ASU basketball fan again, that I kind of lost interest over the years. I think the last ASU game I had been to was in the 80s, and there was maybe 1,500 people at the game, and there was 5 ASU fans, and the rest were U of A fans. So that's it.
We just got tickets right behind my seat.
Yeah, so I finally was able to maneuver just behind him for last season, what I thought, and unfortunately haven't been able to go to a game yet. So,
right. Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm glad now it's everything is heading in the direction that we may actually be able to do some in-person stuff. So hopefully that will all happen. We'll all get our vaccines, and everyone still takes care of each other, and we'll be able to do a tailgate of some sort next year.
yeah, I really miss it, and I think Adam mentioned it earlier about even the people on Twitter. You can ignore all the political nonsense that goes on, and the stuff that the fact that people that have come out to our tailgates over the course of the past couple of years, we've grown to love and become great friends with, and see on road trips. I mean, just literally within the last month, I've been driving down the 101, waving to people, driving down Gilbert Road, talking to people out the window.
Right on.
People I've met on Twitter and then become friends with, at ASU games and stuff. So
Right.
that part of it has just been really special for both of us. And, like I said, Adam and I have become such good friends, and our families, just do everything. We have everyone, their family in our thoughts, and it's just been an amazing last probably 8 or 9 years, I think. So
That is excellent, and we'll get to talk a little bit about that, because I didn't know that's how long you guys were tailgating, so that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, though.
Always. We will do it again next week. Hopefully, whoever shows next week, you'll have to have a beer lined up for next week as well.
All right, appreciate it. See you
I
guys.
appreciate you, man. See ya. So let me make sure. I wish I was a little bit more flawless in changing my formats. So, outstanding news, everyone. We just lost to Hawaii in baseball 3-2. Yay, team. So hopefully. So we were talking about this. So baseball is your game. I mean, obviously you love golf, but baseball is the one that you watch, huh? So it's a Major League Baseball is the one you watch.
Baseball is like my first love. I mean, I'm a baseball junkie. I watch, a lot of baseball games. My favorite team is the Twins. I was born in Minnesota, so
Yep.
I grew up as a Minnesota Twins fan. They won the first World Series when I was 10 years old.
Oh, right on.
I won 5 years after that. Or 4 years after that. So I was just hooked, from a pretty early age, and so I've always really loved baseball. I'm a numbers guy, so
Okay.
I think if you're into mathematics or numbers in any way, you kind of gravitate towards baseball because it's just a natural thing of how baseball functions. But I'm not a person like I need the action of football all the time. People crave the action. They need something happening all the time. I enjoy the pace of a baseball game. I enjoy the just relaxing and just sitting there. I'm the nerd at the game that's keeping score. I have a scorebook.
PJ just said that. You keep score, huh? You have a scorebook, huh?
Oh yeah, actually.
That's fun though, and I'll tell you that because you know me. I'm always working with data and analytics and whatnot. But I got an app, and so I was scoring Padawan 3 softball games. It's fun.
Yeah, there you
Look at
go.
that.
There's I don't know, what year that's from, but
That's
yeah,
cool,
that's
man.
a
How far
game.
back does that book go?
So this particular book, this is my new baby. This one I got, I believe in 2014.
Okay.
I think was the year that I got this game or this book, rather, I should say. Yeah, 2014. That's when So I've had a number of these over the years,
Right.
and in my quest for the perfect scorebook, the one that I love the most. So I've kind of switched between some, and I've had an app as well. I've used an app to score games and stuff. But this was my favorite one I found. This is one that is used by the majority of announcers. That are calling on like radio or TV broadcasts. Most of them are using this scorebook. So that was kind of, I'm like, if it's good enough for them, I should probably just go ahead and settle into this one.
See, that's very cool. And I mean, just pencil to paper is just brilliant, though. I mean, there's just something about that tactile writing it that just for me, it sticks in my brain a little bit more writing it down.
Well, it's funny because I'll go through that book and, PJ knows this. Like, I note who I'm at the game with and stuff like that. I usually have them sign my book too,
Okay.
So whether with my dad, my sister, or with PJ and his son, or whoever, I kind of, so I can literally go back through those games and I mean, you don't do it a lot, but every so often I'll flip through some of those scores and you see like, oh yeah, that was great. I mean, for instance, my uncle who had just passed away. We went to a game together, and I can go back and I can see the game I was at with him, and and kind of it takes you back to that moment. And,
Absolutely.
And it's just I don't know. For a lot of people, probably isn't something that they would ever think about doing in that kind of thing. But for me, it's just something I enjoy doing, and I enjoy the experience of it. And I don't know. Yeah,
I love it. For me, again, baseball is not one of my top sports, but I absolutely love the fact that you're able to score keep that. And actually, I was looking for something similar for football, and I saw a few books like that. So I kind of found some images, and I recreated a football diagramming one where you can actually track plays and who's tackling and gains and losses and everything else. So
basically
some of the
kind of thing or something.
Say it again.
Basically like a drive chart kind of thing or something.
Not a drive chart. It's almost. I wish I could bring it up. I don't know if I can share my screen. It'd take me a little bit to dig it up, but it's just it's on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it diagrams it where each page has. I think I have 20 rows, so I can track each play back and forth for a quarter. So each page is a quarter, right? So I'm able to do that. So sometimes, like the Oregon game, I was actually scoring it, and I ran out of pages for the first quarter, so I have this anyway. So it's just I like I said, I absolutely just respect you being able to do that, because it just putting it like, and again, having people sign it, and it's a memory, and it just sticks to your brain a little bit more. So I absolutely love that. So 9 years. This is your 10th year, or is this going to be your 9th year tailgating?
Oh man, that's a good question. I would bet. Well, so it's kind of funny because like the tailgate, you got to understand the tailgate originally was just like, me and 2 or 3 dudes, drinking a beer, and maybe we had a party sub, there
Right.
eating. So I mean, like, I don't know, as far as like to consider this tailgate the same as that, I don't know that we're quite there. I would say that we at least are going back to the probably 2014 for sure. By the time we got to the Notre Dame game, for sure we were doing a pretty decent tailgate where we had a few people out there, or a decent a dozen or so people were coming by and that kind of thing. And it was even there you go. PJ says the veggie tray is 2013. So the infamous story of the veggie tray was we did a tailgate of for like the first of the year, and PJ's girlfriend got a little maybe a little ahead of herself, or she was just really excited about contributing to the tailgate. And so she was going to make up this veggie tray, and because every tailgate needs a veggie tray.
Always. Why not?
And
because
so
everything else runs out eventually, and you're still hungry.
So she made an incredible veggie tray, and and it was a lot of it was still there at the end of the tailgate. It was weird. I don't know why. No one knows why. But yeah, the why is not important, right? I mean, it's just and so so 2013 was kind of the maybe the spawning of the Crafty Devils tailgate to eventually become what it is. It took a number of years for it to kind of
course,
grow to that, but yeah,
because I mean, it's always same thing. My dad tailgates every year down at the other school, and so they had a little spot right where, and now they've upgraded to a double RV spot. He doesn't have an RV, but he gets a double RV, so he has all this room, and he has like 5 tents, and it's just like everyone comes and unloads, and he has 3 grills going, and so it's like, but like you said, it builds over time, right? It's not like ta-da, we got everything we need. It's like, no, it builds. And the thing is too is, again, and for everyone watching, again, Adam and PJ have a tailgate in the north side in lot 59 where the Crafty Devils, where PJ does all the crafted beers, and Adam is your barbecue pit master. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful setup. Fantastic food as always, Adam. So I definitely appreciate you for doing that. But kind of summarizing that for everyone that's watching it in the future, right? And so, getting to the point where you're at now, it's an event, right? People look forward to being part of it, right? Even those that we've met and some of the summits and everyone else, people are excited to be a part of it and looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's funny. Earlier in the comments, Craft Creative met at RIP to Tornado, and PJ talked about Tornado, one of my favorite beer bars. The one in San Francisco is still there. I think he was saying RIP Tornado on San Diego. They closed down, but I can tell you this. I mean, as far as when we get to our tailgates, excuse me. I mean, I've been to a lot of great beer bars, all over the country, and some of the top ones that you'll find around. And I can tell you this. I mean, as far as you come out on a weekend, the beer list that PJ puts together will compete against any of the beer lists that I've been to at the top beer bars in the country. at any given time. I mean,
Absolutely.
he really puts together some ridiculous amount of great stuff for sure.
Exactly.
I'm always excited because the great thing about being the other part of this is that I do get the pick of the litter. That
Right.
stuff. So P-Day does hold out some stuff for that he makes sure I get that I know is phenomenal and things like that. So it's always a treat for me out there that I know I'm going to be having a really good. I'm going to have a really good 3-4 hours of beers out there, and of course my family comes out there too. He always takes care of them as well. So
and that's always interesting because of you're hustling a lot, right? I mean, you're running the food, you're preparing, you're chopping, you're making sure everything's set up. So for a good portion of it, from what I remember when I would go visit, you're working almost, and then once everyone's kind of fed, then you're like, okay, leave me. I'm going to drink some beers. I'm going to hang out now.
Yeah, it's kind of I have I kind of hit the middle portion of the tailgate. So like when we first get there, I obviously getting everything set up and all that stuff is we're kind of all working there, and then I kind of have some time where I'm just chill for a while because we don't normally do the food until about 2 hours or so before kickoff. So
okay.
So right about the kickoff's at 7, about 5 we'll do the food. I'll break everything out. And we're normally out there about 4 hours before the game.
Right.
So I normally have a good little, hour and a half, 2 hour period where I just get to relax. And then I have a nice little, hour and a half or, hour of stress.
Yeah, it is that whole block
let's
of
get
it.
everything set up. Let's get everything, out here, dialed in and ready to go. And chopped up, and I just make sure everybody's good, make sure everything's tasting okay, and then screw everything up, and then after everything's done, then I clean up, and that's the then it's just breaking everything down. That's kind of the last of my I kind of take charge of that. P-Day's getting the last of the beers out, and I just try to get everything back in a trailer in the right way, and get all that stuff squared away so we don't drop anything on the way home.
Exactly, and make sure you're in before the game. And I don't know if I've ever. I know you let me and Paige borrow your seats for the USC game in 20 was last year, 1918. I think is the last.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, sounds right.
That was the one, and so never thank you for that one. But that was
absolutely. It was great.
That was very cool.
So we have to get so many parking spaces and stuff like that. So we kind of have extra seats around and stuff like that. And it works out great because it allows us to bring, some of our family out there. My folks use those sometimes. P-Day's son uses them sometimes. Sometimes we've given them to, first responders at times. We've given them to, various people and stuff like that. So it works out good in that regards to have those seats. And of course, then we have the seat for Paige for just as our DD that we have a ticket for, every game as well. And now we have all those seats together, which is really nice. So,
that's very cool. I mean, it's such an event. I think it's brilliant that all of you guys are able to do that. And so BJ was mentioning something, obviously for those who are familiar with barbecuing, it takes some time. I mean, it's like the amount of prep time you have to put in for a Saturday afternoon game or Saturday night game must be impressive, but I can only imagine how it shifts if it's an early morning game or even, like a 2:00 kick, right? How much middle of the night work you have to do, I guess is the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and that's kind of the starting point is the game time. So then I start working backwards from there. This is kind of, and I literally just have a notepad and I just start writing down the time. So here's what time we're going to be at the tailgate. Here's what time we have to leave. Okay, from there I'm going to build in this amount of leeway just in case things take longer than they should, which
Right. Okay.
happens a lot. And so then I run backwards to find when I need to start. And you know, and I mean, and you know, it's the I can tell you this, it's funny because the early morning or the earlier starts are worse than the late
I
night.
can imagine, dude. So first of all, shout out to everyone. Shout out to Res Devil. Res, what's wrong with you? This is every Friday, so you have no excuse. I don't need to remind you. You know,
you know, and I didn't mention Res Devil and the people that we met on Twitter, and I can't believe that I somehow omitted that because he's probably one of my favorite people, and not even probably. He is my favorite person I met on Twitter, and I love nothing but love for Res Devil. He is the man. Curtis is one of my all-time favorite people. Absolutely love him.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And so so as a thought, so let's do this as a thought activity. Thanks to Blunder Scott, our commissioner. If you had to prepare for a 9 a.m. kickoff in Tempe, what would that have looked? I mean, would you have been smoking something heavy duty, or would it have been something very light and straightforward and doesn't take a ton of work to make happen?
The 9 a.m. kickoff, I'm probably just going to be doing breakfast at that point. Okay. So I guess there's one of two ways you can go. I'm either just going to do breakfast. We're going to do some eggs. We're going to do some, bacon or chorizo maybe, and we're just going to do some.
Okay.
And just do some breakfast tacos or something like that.
Gotcha.
Whatever. Or we go the other route and we say, you know what? We're going to do brisket for breakfast. We're going to smoke up some brisket, and we're going to do, and I could have that done. I could do it mostly on Friday, have it done. Cause so 7-8, if it's 9 a.m. kickoff, we'll be out there by, I'm guessing 6 a.m. So really, it wouldn't be that bad because most of the work would be done before midnight, and I would get some sleep as it finishes. So if you're familiar, if anyone's ever smoked a brisket out there, how it goes is you put it on, you got about 3 hours.
Okay.
Once you put it on, you don't have to touch it. Okay. And once it's been on for 3 hours, then about every hour you're going to be kind of babysitting. Okay. You're going to be checking your wood, your temperatures. You're going to be checking you're going to be spritzing it just to make sure it's not drying out, etc. After about 8 hours that it's on, you're going to wrap it. And once it's wrapped, you're done. Okay. You're not doing anything else until it's complete, which is going to be about another 4 hours.
Is that in the smoker, or is that just in the? Wrapped in the smoker?
Yeah, so it's in the smoker. If you really had to, you can do it in the oven if you want to, but it's in the smoker. If you've gotten to that point of smoker, just keep on smoking it.
And I'm just asking because I eventually want to do my own brisket. I just don't know how long it takes. I guess it depends on the weight, but.
So once you've wrapped it, so I mean, just on that timeline, just think of this. So again, 9 o'clock kick. Again, okay. P-Day said 4 a.m. Tailgate. Let's split the middle between 6 and 4 and say 5. Okay. So I'm going to want to have that done at least an hour to 2 hours before that. So that tells me I want to finish this around 3 a.m. If it's going to be wrapped for a good 4 hours, that's 11 p.m. the night before. That I will wrap it, and then I can go to sleep at that time, and I don't have to worry about it till about 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
So that just so timeline for me, that actually doesn't sound that bad.
Okay.
The ones that are tough are the 7 o'clock kicks, because when you timeline that backwards, that's a 3 o'clock tailgate. I want to finish that around 1 o'clock. 4 hours before that, you're looking at 8 o'clock, which means I'm up spritzing from most of the night.
Wow.
I'm putting that on in the middle of the night, and I'm babysitting it for quite a bit of time there. So it's just and I tend to I write all this stuff out. There's I take a big piece of butcher paper, and I have all these times written out, and they're taped to a wall so that I can see exactly when stuff has to happen.
Yep,
so I know what has to happen when and how that all lays out. Just because if you don't, I feel like if I don't do that, I tend to miss stuff, and you don't want to have that happening. It's because then you just get yelled at more by PJ, and you don't want to be yelled at.
You don't want to. You're already getting yelled at PJ for showing up.
Yeah, PJ's a dick as it is, and leave alone when he's angry, PJ, then you really don't want to listen to that. So
exactly. So anyway, he's saying that you need to find someone. You need to get an intern to spritz your meat, but you don't want them to.
Trust me, I told PJ he could be that intern, and it has not filled that space.
Yeah.
Well, because it's tough because I look, I don't. He puts together. He brings beers from all the country. He flies all over. He gets drunk somewhere. He buys some beer there. He brings it home. Way to go. He puts it in a cooler. Eventually, he puts some ice on it. Great job. Phenomenal job. Who could do that better? Not many people. So, obviously, his job isn't easy either.
So they say.
Yeah.
No, but and that's the other thing. I think that's what Rez is definitely saying. And again, it's definitely needs to be said, right? It's a lot. It's many hours when a lot of people are sleeping and just dreaming of, being able to, make sure that they're resting for the day. You're working out there. So that's definitely it. Oh, here's something for you. Type of barbecue, Memphis. And I appreciate you saying Memphis, because that's my image. MEMPIS, KC or Texas. Which one is the one you like?
I'll tell you this. I love Memphis barbecue. My company was based out of Memphis for forever.
Okay.
So we go to Memphis every year, and I'd be at Corky's or Rendezvous or Central Barbecue, having some Gus's fried chicken, all that stuff. Just great. So I love me some Memphis, but Texas barbecue is my favorite. It's kind of what I tend to gravitate to when I'm trying to cook stuff. I love the simplicity of it. I love that it's not the overwhelming majority of their barbecue tends to be centered around salt and pepper. There's not a whole lot of depth beyond that. There is a little bit, but it's kind of the hardcore basis of it, and I love the flavor from post oak. I do love and my the only kind of adaptation I do is because we're in Arizona, it's so readily available. Pecan, use a pecan, instead of maybe oak and that kind of thing there. So that's really my two. So I guess to answer the question, Texas is my favorite, but I do love me some Memphis barbecue.
Right, because there's another one here. Because Bauer got some. Glad Carolina barbecue didn't even make the list. That vinegar stuff is trash.
Yeah, Bauer. Yeah, love that. Yeah, look, there's a place for it. It's like I'm not going to hate on any kind of barbecue. I like, hey, give me some barbecue. I don't mind.
It's all good wherever it's from.
Yeah, give me some Carolina. Give me some of that mustard sauce out there. Hey,
Absolutely.
man, I'm not gonna complain.
Complaining about meat? Come on.
Yeah.
Also,
give me as far as you're talking about the kind of style that I like and the kind of style that I tend to gravitate towards,
right.
and what I make tends to be more of the Texas style.
Exactly. And I think my internet connection is acting up, and I don't know why, but it's been hiccuping. But we just missed it. It's 42 after. It is actually, so it's 44. It's 2 minutes ago. But cheers to the 42 after. Salute everyone, and thanks for being part of the I don't know if you saw Padawan 1 hand me something, but here's my dessert.
Oh, nice.
A banana split from 31 flavors, because Baskin Robbins always finds out, for some of you Marvel fans out there. So truncated 2020 season, obviously we were watching a lot of that together. We did some of the tailgates and everything else, but I don't know if we've talked about since that 70-7 thrashing of the other team. I mean, I know you guys were watching it separately. I don't know if we talked about after that game. Maybe I was just too lit to remember. But what were you guys doing during that game?
So watched that game over at PJ's house. I can, so PJ, this was a change of pace. PJ was cooking me a meal and made an incredible meal.
Okay.
He, God, what was it? Made steaks, smoked Brussels sprouts,
so good.
potatoes. I mean, it was everything you can imagine. I remember watching when the game started. We were outside because something happened with the smoker, and we were trying to troubleshoot like what was going on. And I'm looking up, and I look in the window, and I see us returning the kickoff.
Yeah,
all the way back down. I'm like, we're gonna score! Like we're scoring right now. He's like, wait, what? Like, no, yeah, like we just scored.
right.
Like, and then it was just like the avalanche that happened from there forward.
Right.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, that wasn't the steak night. That was we were smoking a green chili. They were doing a green chili pork that night. That's right. That's what we had going on out there when the trade was failing. It was kicking off because we had and we had some other snacks delivered or something like that that we were nibbling on while the first part of the game was going, because I think we had the green chili pork at halftime.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was watching that early on was just complete disbelief.
It was even then we did have 42 points in the first half. It's still like they're going to come back. They're going to come back.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, like, wait a minute, like they can't be this bad, right? I mean, like
yeah.
Man, I mean, we've seen this before. Like they still have athletes down there. They still have some good players, but maybe they don't. I don't know, because this is ugly, and it just kept getting uglier and uglier, and it was great.
It filled my heart. I think my parents went to bed. They were watching it, and they're like, I think I called them the next day, and they're like, yeah, we didn't finish it.
Oh, I mean, I can remember we enjoyed that game immensely, watched the entire thing. Then I think PJ fired up a comedy show. I laughed my ass off for I don't even know how long, because I passed out at some point. And I was a mess, and now thank God, just had a bedroom crash there. Woke up the next morning, and I don't know. I remember we had ordered some breakfast then or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Just leave it at that. And so now, upcoming season. Obviously, we won't get to do a lot about the spring. I'm sure you would be going to the spring game if you would be able to, right, and stuff like that. And do you attend practices when they were open? Did you ever do that?
Yeah, we've been up there a few times. I've gone to spring practices occasionally. Normally, and I mean, like, not just like because they were open, but fortunately, we've been invited out a couple times to go to various practices, stuff like that.
Okay.
Bowl prep practices or things along those lines, and so I'll go out to those. I mean, I don't. To me, it's always fun to go to those things because I love watching how coaches work. It's always interesting to me. As somebody that was I mean, I was never a great athlete, but I played sports. I played, baseball, basketball, football, as I was growing up and that, for as long as I can remember and stuff like that. And so I do love seeing how college athletes get coached and how they go about their business and what they do and how it differs from where, what we did but just the what they put into it, how again, it's the approach the coaches take, I think is a really interesting one to me, and
right.
The what they're looking for, what are the details they're paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that always interests me. And so anytime we get the opportunity to go out to there and get to observe that and get to be around that, I definitely do. Or anytime we're even able to be around coaches and period, just to talk to them and just to get, feedback and hear their thoughts on things is always just a treat to me. So,
have you golfed with any of the current or former coaches?
It's a really funny question because I have not golfed with any current ones or anything like that. However, I happened to have dinner with a friend 2 weeks ago, and apparently, so he's from Pennsylvania, and someone acquaintance he knows there, a friend he has there, was out here, and they have a house in Desert Mountain as well out here, so they come out to Arizona a lot. And he had asked, like, hey, is it okay if I bring my friend with, who's also from Pennsylvania up there? And it's Adam Brenneman, who's our new tight end coach.
Oh, okay.
And so Adam had gone up there and hung out with him, and anyway, so apparently we're set up to go play golf together. And so I haven't played golf with them, but I look forward to getting to play golf with them and kind of pick his brain for a little bit.
Absolutely. Just talk about, okay, are they going to throw the ball to you more than, twice under the ground?
Let's develop a tight end position, because I tell you what, for a long time, man, we were kind of a tight end I mean, like,
hell yeah,
that Dirk Cutter's offense was designed around tight ends almost, it seemed like. I mean, it was really great.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping we saw flashes of that with the Zach Hill offense, right? Because again, they're both from Boise.
Yeah,
so I'm
absolutely.
hoping that's what we get to see as well. I mean, they've touted it. I mean, Chris Hodges had a touchdown in the big game, right? So
bomb. It's like,
he ran. I'm like, wow, that's a tight end. A tight end's running across the field. What's that about?
I mean, you go back to like when you had Jermaine Lewis and you had guys like, of course, Zach Miller,
the truth.
But you had really the tight end position was a really dynamic position for us for quite a while. I can remember hearing that NFL guys were sending, OCs out here to study Dirk Cutter's offense because they love that ace formation so much and what we did, how we manipulated tight ends and stuff like that, and how we were using them to create, advantages here and there. I mean, that's I would love to see us first utilize that more in a better way. So
that offense was incredible. I mean, the amount of yards that Walter would just throw would have in games was brilliant. I mean, it was always I don't know how, I can't remember what the defensive side was like back in the day.
It wasn't good. It wasn't.
That's my point. I don't remember it being memorable.
Yeah, it was never good. Yeah, no, that was always the Achilles heel. That was like, we could score with anyone, but we couldn't stop anyone.
Once they end, that's it. Now it's a matter of just, okay, now we just got to outgun them. So now you were saying, again, you're originally from Minnesota. You moved to the Valley when you're about 10, right? So what was your first experience with ASU? Like, what was your first game?
It's funny. My first real experience with ASU probably wasn't until I was in college.
Okay.
We never really went to games when I was in elementary
Okay.
school or high school or anything like that. I followed ASU. I mean, they were on television and you saw them here. But I mean, I never really. My sister went to ASU and she's 9 years older than me. So, so when I was right when we moved here, she's in school at ASU and stuff. My earliest remembers of ASU games are like that, Nebraska game. I think the year before that we'd gone to the ASU U of A game here because I wanted to, because it's always the day after Thanksgiving and so my brother was living in New Mexico at the time, so he'd come over here, and so it's kind of, we're around, it's like, well, what should we do? And you're just hanging out. There's not much to do on that Friday. It's like, well, ASU U of A is playing. Like, can we get some tickets? Let's go see if we can, run down to the game, and we'd go do that. I mean, we did that for a lot of years, and so really up until I was in school, that was really the only experience I had there, and once I got, where I was on, I went to ASU just for briefly, but I was going to college around there. And so we just, enjoyed going to games and, seeing what we could. I remember we'd go hang out at Bandersnatch. That was like the pre-game spot. Go over there, have a Foster's in the old oil can. It's the first and last I think I've ever drank out of the oil can. I don't recall ever actually being able to have one since. And then roll over there right over the game, enjoy the game. Hopefully got to see a Sun Devil win, and then kind of bounce down to Mill Avenue for a little bit, and then head back home from there. So that's really my earliest memories of ASU tailgates and that there. Oh, did we lose Jedi? I can tell you a quick story about one of my favorite ASU U of A games. Me and my dad and my brother, again over here for Thanksgiving. My brother was, and it was it's like, hey, let's go down and see if we can get some tickets. Okay, and we're like, we head over to Bandersnatch for the game. Sometimes they have tickets for sale there. That we didn't really find anything that made sense. So we're like, well, we'll go over to the stadium. We'll find something over there. We head over there, and my brother gives me a couple $100. Hop in line because the ticket office is still open. See if you can get anything there. We'll see if we can find some scalpers. I'm waiting in line. I hear my brother yelling, "Hey, come here." Okay, bail on the line, go over, and he has a scalper there working on a deal. Okay, let's see where these are at. We end up buying the tickets at literally it had to be 30 seconds after we purchased the tickets. A cop walks up because we're right outside the ticket office, not across the street where it was okay at that time. And the cop goes, "What's going on here?" And my brother's holding tickets. I'm holding his few $100 that he'd given me. And this doesn't look good. And the cop's like, "What's going on here?" And my brother's like, "Well, this is my dad. This is my brother. This is, he's giving me cash for the tickets. and we're going to be going to the game. The cop's like, okay, because you can't be scalping tickets here. All right, great. Walks away. We're like, whew, that was 30 seconds earlier. We were probably not in as good a shape. But we end up, the tickets we got were on the 50-yard line of the east side. We were row one. So, I mean, like, this was really couldn't have been more perfect seats. I mean, we were, right dead. And you're basically watching the all 22 the entire game. And unfortunately, that was the year that U of A beat us to keep us out of a bowl game. Not really an important part of the story. That's a side note. No one really remembers that part. But there was other good stuff. So we'll focus on that. Jedi just said he's rejoining the stream soon. Okay. Hopefully we'll see that. PJ can go fuck off. Come on, man. If you'd like to tell a story, feel free. God, what good PJ story could I tell? Actually, this would be a good one here. So I don't know if you guys know a lot, but we go out. Me and PJ, Crafty Devils. We go out to South by Southwest pretty regularly, or at least we used to back in the day. Rez, I'm drinking a Todd the Axeman, or what used to be called Todd the Axeman. Now it's just the Axeman as the Crafty Devils beer of the week. So that is what I am enjoying right now. I am biding my time at this point till I get to some Crown and Sevens. So right after this is going to be a little Crown and Seven action. So we went out to South by Southwest, which was 2018, and first night we get in on Tuesday. Nothing really happens on Tuesday. It's pretty low key, and we get in. We go have some beers, we have some barbecue, we go have more beers, we listen to some bands. Now we're into some cocktails. It's a little early for cocktails for PJ because he's a little fella, and it gets a little away from him. And we end up at a bar watching a band called Sideshow Tragedy. And, my man's a little out of hand. He's a little drunk at this point. And Rob,
Adam.
I can hear you.
So, just so you know, I'm not messing about the power outage. I'm doing this show by candlelight.
Holy shit!
Yeah, no shit. I'm like, huh. So anyway, I'm literally so puts up of June on Friday night. So it's like it was gonna be something weird, and so it like kept coming on and coming off, coming on and coming off, and I'm like, holy shit, maybe it's my computer blowing up the house right on the circuit or whatever it was. So, doesn't have power, and so the only.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting in and out.
I don't want to do not you and everything else.
Yeah, I didn't really catch that. You're cutting it out too bad, man.
Sorry. It's my
I don't know. Are you guys still hearing him or no? Like me? It's the Adam. Oh, so let me finish the story about PJ, since it's the Adam Blomker show. So we're at the show, and it doesn't go well. He's pretty drunk. We go back to the condo for a bit, and we go to a comedy show, which is always great. You know, we love this because Esther's Follies, and it's always a great time. The comic, I forget who was doing the headlining at that time, but he does say, hey, anyone here from New York? And PJ, oh! And he goes, where are you from in New York? And PJ's dead silent. Dead silent for forever. Guy repeats this question. Where are you from in New York? Nothing. PJ just sitting there like, I didn't mean for anything. We go through the whole show. Leave, and PJ runs into a nice little homeless gal who I get his photo with. Well, he falls down first. Falls down, lays on the ground, gets up. Homeless gal helps him up. I have some great photos of this. I'll share later. And we then go on to a couple shows, and let's just say this. No one has ever liked the band The Touts quite like PJ has liked the band The Touts. They're a band from Ireland. Great band. But no one has ever loved them the way PJ has loved them. And that night, we're sharing a room. PJ has an air mattress next to the bed, and he comes in and just lays down on the floor, passes out. And I'm like, do you want me to blow up the air mattress? And he's like, no. He's like, no, I'm good. And he just like lays down, passes out. And I'm like, well, that seems like a poor choice. Because, I can blow up the air mattress and then sleep comfortably. And he's having none of this. And so he goes to sleep, and he basically is sleeping with a dislocated arm, at this point, because of how he's sleeping. This is not what you would call comfortable. It's a rough way to go. And so, of course, I do what any great friend would do, and I take pictures. And
is this what people into a tree?
After I take pictures, I at least then found a blanket to put under his head for a little softness for the evening, and a blanket over him. But I left his shoulder dislocated because I felt like that was important. In fact, if you can see, there's him sleeping on the floor.
That's wicked.
And then you can see how I took care of him. But I left the arm dislocated because you don't want to touch that.
Not at all. Can you hear me?
Was that?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. That's funny. Well, I am sorry to do this to everyone because well, you know what it is. Can you hear me? Because I can hear you because I got a connection now.
I hear you.
All right, so I'm going to put some earphones on first. Thought I had some earphones in here someplace. Okay. Oh, there we go. Good. I'll turn my Bluetooth earphone. I love these. I love these earbuds, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me a little bit better once I connect in. But I don't want to end the Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Wonderful. All right. So we're going to do this in the dark by candlelight. And I'm going to ask you 3 questions that I ask all my guests. And so the first question is, what skill do you wish you had?
Believe it or not, I wish I had a better skill of talking to people. I don't think I do a great job of when just meeting people out of the blue of being a good conversationalist with them.
I feel that I'm not good at I'm good at initiate. I'm not good at initiating conversations, but if someone comes up to me, then I won't shut up.
So I'm very similar. When I'm comfortable with you, if I know you, and you know, it is kind of weird because I can talk with people just random, but I don't know. I wish I had a better manner of initiating conversation with people. The communication part, just starting out randomly and having a good conversation with someone, I think would be a skill I'd like to develop.
I love it. No, I agree with you. I completely respect that one. Res Devil says he wants X-ray vision, so he wants to be able to see your panties.
That was second. Yeah. Tight
yeah, I figured Res would want to just see people's underwear and irradiate them to death. So
yes,
that's always good.
Well, as we all do, yeah. So
exactly, and so this next one you might have shared some already, but you kind of alluded to some of it while we were talking about it with your trips and on your golfing. But could you share your story of the greatest meal you've ever had in a restaurant?
Oh,
doesn't have to be extravagant. Could have been low key, but you know, what do you think your story is?
Yeah. So I love me some food. As people can probably tell, I've been Bill.
We love food.
You know, I'll tell. So I'm gonna say my favorite meal I've ever had. My favorite restaurant is L'Atelier in Vegas. Okay.
Okay.
It's Joel Robuchon's restaurant there. Joel Robuchon is French chef. He was named chef of the century for the 20th century. So, you know, pretty good. You know, when your name's chef of the century.
He's got some skills. He's got some skills.
And I got to meet him one time there. So the
really
low key spot. Like next door is this full restaurant, Joel Robuchon. They do a like 16-course tasting menu there. L'Atelier is a little more like a approachable place. It's you know, you can do some a la carte stuff. You can just do like if you want to do their tasting menu, it's a 9-course tasting menu, and it's and that. But they prepare. It's almost like a sushi style restaurant. Everything prepared right in front of you. So, but it's not. But they're not doing sushi. They're doing a full meal, and so you're literally watching everything happen, and it's this beautiful, like almost ballet of, you know, how they go about the execution, the detail to which they go to make things happen is incredible. And I just love everything about that experience and just sitting there. And I've been there enough that I've gotten to know a number of the people that work there and that kind of thing. And so they remember when I come to town and stuff like that. And so to me, that is my favorite meal. You know.
Got it. Turn
Oh, there it is.
Hey, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have one good connection, and I'm fighting with all the kids for it. So you were, it's all that you were at talking about L'Atelier in Vegas, and it sounds like it's a chef's table setup, right, where they're preparing all the food right in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and it's just like I say, like the precision they go through, the detail. I mean, and it's not even just that they go through all that. The food that you eat is, I mean, the greatest thing, maybe one of the greatest bites of food I've ever had was a lobster carpaccio that they did there.
Oh wow!
Just thinly shaved lobster, some lemon juice, some capers, some onion on there, and I mean that might be one of the greatest bites of food I think I've ever had. And I mean, so I mean, like things like that just conjure up memories to me. If I'm going for like a personal memory,
Sure.
My answer would probably be different than that. I mean, I've had a number of great meals with and it's funny because it probably wouldn't be a restaurant. It'd probably be just sitting on a table with my, maybe at my brother's house. My brother and his wife are really great cooks, and that I can remember having numerous great, just fantastic meals over at their house, and the night that you have the experience of the laughs you have and the everything like that is there's a few nights I can think of that are really great, just phenomenal meal evenings, kind of thing.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the why I preface it, right? Because when I say restaurant, right, and I may have to change it in the future, right, is the best meal you've ever had, right? Because, I think Jeff Preston shared one where he was at a little mom and pop Vietnamese or maybe a Japanese restaurant here in San Mateo. And it was after a tournament, and it was just him and his kids, and it was just a great meal because it was just them, and you're having just a good time. You weren't, not spending, your mortgage like I did one day, but it's still.
I mean, and to that point, I mean, I think maybe one of the better meals, one of the great meals I've ever had. I mean, was that South by Southwest trips and that we go to, that night after PJ dislocated his shoulder. Where were you at? We're at Franklin Barbecue. We wait in line and we have a bunch of beers and we have a whole bunch of amazing barbecue the next morning, or the next midday, noon, or whatever it was that we got in there. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, this is so good. And we're sitting there with your buddies, and you just had you waited in line for 4 or 5 hours to get in here, but you had a great time doing it because it's like tailgating essentially, and
right.
And you basically tailgated to get in, and at the end of it was just one of the greatest barbecue plates you're ever going to have in your life. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I'm there with my really good friends, and we have some incredible memories to take away from it because PJ made an ass of himself as always, and it's absolute gold. And I wish I could share the video right now because it would be so amazing. But that'll be future. Those that know.
We will make it happen.
Yeah,
we will make it happen. That's excellent. And so now, next one is outside of your family, your home, friends, what have you. What's your most treasured possession?
Wow. Outside of friends, family, what's my most treasured possession?
Yeah, business, all that. What's your most treasured possession?
God, that's a great. that's gonna.
And it's like, Cameron Cox shared one. He has a photo collage that his grandmother had, right? Kyle Dodd had a sweatshirt that's been signed by the Lakers, right? So, AC Green, James Worthy, Magic Johnson, they all signed it, right? So, Lindsay, she has her grandfather's hat, right? So there's just it's the gamut.
There's probably two things that come to mind. So number one would be the scorebook that I mentioned earlier. Okay, my baseball scorebook. And the one that probably is the winner, or I'm sure is the winner. So I have, and I it's probably actually in this room somewhere. I'd have to find it. So my on my dad's side of the family, my grandma lived to be 104. There's a big range for, I think my 6 kids in my dad's family from 22 years between the oldest and youngest, and my dad's on the younger side of that. So I have aunts and uncles that are fairly old and that. But I remember, so when we go up and we go to visit my grandma, she had when you get to play the toys at her house, it wasn't like you had a Lego set or you had anything that was any remotely close to modern. What you had was Lincoln Log, or not even Lincoln Log, just blocks. It wasn't even Lincoln Logs. It was just blocks. So I can remember for her 100th birthday, when we got up for that, they took those blocks and they put one of the grandkids' names, because every grandkid played with these same blocks. Okay, because these have been around. I mean, probably my dad played with these blocks, and then all his siblings. But so they wrote our name on each of these blocks, and each one of the grandkids got a block, because we'd all played with these for forever, over the years. And so that block is, I'm certain it's in this room. I'd have to. I mean, it's got to be like, I can tell you it's within 10 feet of me right now, and so it's and so I guess probably that block, because that block just, I mean, I played with that block when I was 4 years old or 5 years old, and I was given that block when I was probably 18 or 19 years old, and and I mean that's and then, like I say, in every one of my cousins and likely even my aunts, uncles has probably played with that same block. So kind of a thing.
It literally has the hands of the whole family on them. And now that each of you have a piece, you each have a piece of the family, literally.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, that's pretty. That's outstanding. Like you said, it's just those little things that matter and that you're able to. So, no, thank you for that. So now, last question of the night. You may have heard this one before. So, I ripped this off from Rob Lowe on his podcast, literally. And so this is asked of everyone that is in Vanity Fair. So now it's your turn to answer this question from Vanity Fair. If you had to see one of these 3 things, okay? One of these 3 things, if you had to see one of them, which one would it be and why? So here are your 3 things: a UFO, a ghost, or Bigfoot.
If I had to see one of those 3 things.
One of those 3. If you haven't seen one of those 3 already.
I mean, I guess I'm going with the UFO.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't assume it's landing near me. Like it's gonna be over there. Like it'll have to get through some shit before it gets to me. The ghost. Right. I feel like okay. I have to I gotta say something about this. Like I can't just ignore that, right? I mean, right. I mean, you just can't be like, I mean, I didn't see that. I mean, so I gotta kind of deal with that. And
Right.
Bigfoot, I feel like, I mean, I hope he's a nice dude, but if he's not, he might rip me to shreds.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
that whole, what is it? That beef jerky commercial messing with Sasquatch, right? And you mess with him,
yeah.
it kills you.
So I think I'm just going with the one that maybe look, maybe they're just heading to Roswell, and that's where they're going, and it's fine. And
They're just passing by. They're not going to do anything.
right. Yeah.
They're
I mean,
not gonna
like,
mess
oh,
with you.
hey, cool. Yeah. Bright lights. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, good for you.
Yes, moving on. You're far away. You're far enough away.
Yeah. So that's that's where I'm going.
I dig that. I appreciate it. I would select the UFO as well because the ghost might freak me out a little too much, and Bigfoot, I'm like, I can take it or leave it. So I feel
Yeah,
you.
well, I mean, you're a big
Thank
guy.
you so much for.
Maybe take him on. So
Well, I don't know about that, man. They're 7-8 feet tall, and they're built like a crazy person. So I don't know. It's like I could probably get a punch in or two, but I'd still end up dead.
yeah.
But yeah, Res Devil is saying UFO, so I guess we're gonna have to have Rez, the king of Twitter, on the 42 Social Club soon when his schedule permits.
That's gonna be gold.
That's your invite, Rez. That's your invite, Rez. You're in demand, and people want you on the show.
I regret I'm even on here right now, and he's not, because that's just all I want to hear is that. Yeah.
The Queen of Levine. We just need to hear about him and his beaches in Levine and his relationship with Kim. That's all we need to hear. That's exactly all we want to hear about. Well, thank you again so much. Right. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me and building community. Giving a shout out to everyone that has been a part of us, part of the show tonight. What would you like to promote? What are you working on? What do you want people to know about you?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really have anything to promote. I mean, I have said before, I mean, just not promote anything. Just take care of each other. Be good to everybody. Everybody's got shit going on. It's tough times for a lot of folks. Just do what you can. Keep going. Get through. Yeah, I mean, just be good to everybody. That's about all you can ask for.
Absolutely. And all the let's see, PJ is actually going to be sending out a post Zoom show. So if you want to join that, DM Crafty Devils on Twitter, and then if my power comes back up, I will join you if you guys are still going. But Adam, I love you. I miss you. I can't thank you enough for doing this, and I can't wait to give you a big ass hug when I see you again in Tempe, man. Or even when you come up here. Either way.
Yeah, I love you too, buddy.
And thanks to everyone on that joined part of the show. Again, as always, we will be back again next week. I'm determining the guest, unless Rez is able to do it next Friday, then we'll bump him to the top of the list and then we'll figure it out. But as always, appreciate all your patience, especially since it's the social club by candlelight. Maybe it's going to have to be a tradition. I'll have to turn all the lights off and do this by candlelight from now on. But I appreciate you again, everyone. Thanks again, as always. As Adam was saying, I love you all. I'm grateful that you are making this such a strong and fun community. Make sure you love yourself and especially love all of those around you in this time. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the last few days of February, and we're entering in March already. So it's going to be a fast 2021. So as always, take care. Look forward to talking with you all on Twitter some more. We might even have a watch party for a basketball game. We'll see. Just keep your eyes out for that announcement as well. So Adam, good night. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night. And then we will see you online again next week as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Jedi.
Bye.
Take care.
Thanks, man. See ya.